Ethan and Tyler. Yes. There are more seats available in here if you want to just come on in here. See the action close up. Welcome again to our Sabbath celebration in honor of the shooting victims in Charleston. We are here to express our grief and declare our solidarity with the AME congregation that was shot up last week. We are deeply troubled, and our hearts and our prayers go out to our brothers and sisters, Reverend Pinckney as well as his entire congregation. We are in shock because this happened in a sanctuary, in a place of worship just like ours here. We are deeply troubled that something like that could happen anywhere in this country, including here. But we're here as an Isla Vista community today to rise for Charleston. And so we will have several speakers here, and we're very honored to have Richard Martinez here, as well as Bob Weiss. We also have Rabbi Dr. Gross-Schaefer here, who will lead us in a reflection. And we also have Dr. Douglas Miller here from the Baptist Confederation. It is great to see all of you here in support. Thank you so much for being here in the name of our church, the United Methodist Church in Isla Vista, as well as EveryTown and Moms Demand Action. Please find a seat and make yourself comfortable. First off, I would like to read a scripture from Psalm 61. Psalm 61. Hear my cry, O God. Listen to my prayer. From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart goes faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the foe. I long to dwell in your tent forever and take refuge in the shelter of your wings. For you, God, have heard my vows. You have given the heritage of those who fear your name. Increase the days of the king's life, his years for many generations. May he be enthroned in God's presence forever. Appoint your love and faithfulness to protect him. Then I will sing in praise of your name and fulfill my vows day after day. I'm now honored to introduce Rabbi Dr. Arthur Gross-Schaefer, who is not only a local rabbi here in Santa Barbara, but he was also a very studious man. He is a professor, and let me get this right, a professor who teaches spirituality, ethics, and other classes, even as the co-chair of the Department of Marketing and Business Law at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. Dr. Gross-Schaefer.
The color orange is such an appropriate color, and let me kind of explain why that you may not know. How many of you have been to a Passover Seder, by any chance? There's the Passover Seder plate in the middle. And for many of us, we now have oranges on that plate. And the reason was, an Orthodox rabbi said, having a woman rabbi is like having an orange on a Seder plate. And therefore, we now have oranges. We can change, and we can make the change that we've talked about through legislation, through activism. But that's not what I want to talk about. Psalm 61 talks about creating a sheltering presence. And I want to talk about it just for a second. This last semester I was teaching in Bonn, Germany for the semester. But I also visited into other parts of Europe. From Austria, to the Czech Republic, to Holland, to Belgium. And there's one thing in common about the Jewish communities there. And that is in front of every synagogue in Europe. Every synagogue in Europe. There is always a police presence. Guns, are present to protect. In addition, the door is not open like this door. You have a security door, where one door opens, bulletproof, second door is absolutely closed, then that door is opened, and the second door is therefore open. There are many people, when you have acts of vandalism or attacks at a chapel, like what happened in South Carolina, or a synagogue, or a mosque, will choose to want to have greater security. Now that's what happened to me when I was in Ojai as the rabbi. A few years ago, one morning, there was a swastika painted on the synagogue door. In talking to the police chief, he said, well, we can't really stop it. There are 2 KKK chapters here in Ojai. I'm not sure why one wasn't enough, but there were 2. And he said, we really can't protect you, but why don't you consider having a security guard, changing your door, having bigger walls? A normal response, one that we rejected. We picked another response, and that's why I'm speaking about it. We called all of the churches in town, and we said, on next Friday night, for our services, we're going to paint over that swastika. Would you please come? The pastors, every one, not only came, but brought members of their community. And my community felt safe because of the interfaith connection. Not security guards, not new rules, though those are important, but each other. So when the Muslim community here in Isla Vista was going for its permit, they weren't sure if they would get support. Many of us, interfaith clergy, spoke on their behalf. They didn't expect that type of support. And when they had 3 Muslims killed in North Carolina, many of us called them to say, how are you doing? How are you feeling? In South Carolina, with the current attack, many of us have called the AME Church to say the same thing. In other words, sometimes we really do need each other. The interfaith aspect of this is critical. In our tradition, the first Jew is not Noah. Now, Noah had a good relationship with God. I mean, God protected Noah's family, and there was a covenant. But he's not considered the first Jew. Abraham is. And here's the reason. When Noah was told, you're going to get protected, he said, great. His neighbors would not have said the same words. When Abraham was told about Sodom and Gomorrah, he argued for their lives. We are taught in the Jewish scriptures, Leviticus 19, love thy neighbor as thyself. Christian scriptures, where is it? I don't know exactly the site. Matthew. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And the basic definition of that is what you wish for yourself, you also wish for your neighbors. And not only wish it, you act to make it happen. If we all want to be safe and feel secure, we have an obligation to do that for our neighbors as well. So when I spoke all around Europe, at Christian institutions and Catholic institutions, remember I'm a professor at a Jesuit university. I have some connections there. I would tell them the story, and I would say to them, how many of you have called the synagogue here and see how they're doing, how they are feeling with the rise of anti-Semitism? And I ask all of us, how many of us have called the AME Church? How many of us have tried to reach out and will reach out? I think that's what it means to love thy neighbor as thyself, that we are there for each person. And so, I ask you please to get into your prayer mode. Now it could be standing, sitting, head bowed. Us Jews, we can't bow our head, we kind of have to move. But whatever position is good for you, have a short meditation. It goes as follows. May the God that unifies all of us, whether that God is called Yeshua, Jehovah, Adonai, Allah, the Great White Spirit, remind us of your commandment to us to love all of our neighbors as we would like to be loved. To remember the words of your teachers, Mother Teresa, who